I usually just walk around. See, my house would be at a corner. I have a corner house, so I just walk up this little hill and I walk by that and I go through this little alleyway and it brings me up to Super Value, and Rome is just beside Super Value. Like, there's two of them. There's Neville's and there's Roma, and they should know, like, that I always pick Roma. I don't like Neville's.
Why not?
Because they don't give you much chips. In Roma they give you loads of chips.
IrishArtsReview.com. The JK Ensemble with John Kelly.
And some Mahler next. Symphony number 2, also known as Resurrection. We're certainly not going to play all of it because we'll be here until Thursday week. But I think we'll play the opening movement. Here is Sir Simon Rattle. I casually called him Simon the other day. I know my place. Sir Simon Rattle. And here he is with the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra and the opening movement of Mahler's Symphony number 2.
I did. I lived, I think it was 23 years out there.
And
It was really gone down the dumps, but now it's actually nicer than what it was before.
What was it like when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, some parts of it was okay. Where I lived, it was alright.
Did you live in the apartment blocks or?
No, my mother lived in the tower before I was born. She had me in the tower, but she had like 11 kids, so she had to get a house, and we lived in Shangang. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
7 girls and 4 boys.
I grew up in this semi-detached house in a middle-class suburb 8 kilometres from the city centre. It was built in the 1930s as part of a garden suburb development that quickly came into favour with the Dublin middle classes. Until I was 13, the house had a quiet and shady front garden with 2 fully grown sycamore trees, while the back opened onto a sunny garden. Across the road there was a row of shops, a grocery store, a chemist and a newsagent, although the custom suffered after Ireland's first shopping centre opened in the late 1960s. Behind the shops there was farmland cultivated for crops and grazing. Field by field, the farm was bought up and developed for housing until it disappeared sometime in the early 1980s. The shops and our front garden were demolished in 1979 to make way for a 6-lane expressway. The state paid my parents £6,000 for the compulsory purchase of the garden. Every acre of land around has now been covered with housing. The prices of these semi-detached 4-bedroom houses on the side of an expressway have soared from £80,000 in 1982 to €1.5 million at the peak of Dublin's property boom in 2006.
That's the thing, like, we're lucky in Clondalkin, you know, and Tallaght, that we kind of distill all these areas where you get the rural experience nearly. Do you know what I mean? And you can see that disappearing, like when I was growing up, we were on the edge of the city, and you could pretty much just walk, take a few steps down the road, and it was a country feel.
Yeah.
And now, like, as with urban sprawl and everything like that, that's gone. So a kid has to go further to find those kind of experiences that were commonplace, like back in the day, you know.
walking across the Blue Bridge.
Walking across the Blue Bridge?
Yeah.
When do you do that? When you get off the bus, or?
When when I get off the bus, walk through the square and then over the Blue Bridge to my school.
And so Thursdays you go down to the square,
Yeah.
and you can't obviously walk back with all this stuff, do you?
No, I get a taxi home.
I started walking to school with my friend Kaylee, and she used to always cry if she was late, or do dance, like stamp her feet, and she used to always go home and leave me to walk to school on my own when I was only about 7, right? And yeah, so I'd walk to school, and like there's a big field, and when it's raining the field's really wet and mucky, and there's always big puddles, and right, so like you had to walk through that every morning, and your shoes or whatever you were wearing would get wrecked and destroyed. And then there was a big river, and sometimes when I learned how to jump it, I'd jump it and I'd be a bit earlier.
Enfant, c'était mon lit là. Tout ça c'est à moi. Tout ça. Moi, ça. Moi j'allais dire tout ça. De là. Ça c'est un appartement, tout ça. Pas de là à là. Là. Moi j'étais là. J'étais obligée de l'aider à tirer le cheval.